Hello, my name is Steven. Do you ever have a tradition so warm, so tightly woven into the rhythm of your life that it doesn't even feel like a tradition anymore? Just part of the air you breathe? For the engineers at Carrington Design Group, a small firm tucked in the snowy Midwestern corner of America, that tradition was the Christmas party. Not some soulless corporate thing with HR-mandated games and a catering budget that could feed a small country. No, this was homegrown. Potluck dishes, Secret Santa, spiked hot chocolate that somehow always had a little too much, holiday spirit, and a karaoke machine that made grown men weep. It was the one time of year where deadlines, emails, and stress melted into eggnog and laughter. And behind it all, behind the playlists, the decorations, the ridiculously detailed gingerbread bridges that would put most architecture firms to shame, was Uncle Dale. His name wasn't actually Uncle Dale, but everyone called him that. Even the interns. Dale was that kind of man. A walking blueprint of decency. The guy who could fix a jammed printer with a paperclip, make you laugh at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday, and somehow remember every employee's birthday, favorite coffee order, and which Marvel movie they liked best. He wasn't just a senior engineer, he was the heartbeat of the office. The quiet kind of hero, one you don't realize you needed until everything falls apart. And when he wasn't working at Carrington, he was teaching night classes in mechanical engineering at the local community college. He didn't do it for the paycheck, it barely covered gas. He did it because he loved helping young minds find the joy in solving problems. But that winter, something went wrong. Right outside Dale's office was a small tin box. It wasn't fancy. Just a dented silver box with a slit in the top and a handwritten sign taped above it. Christmas Tree Party Fund. Help make the magic happen, Christmas tree. This was how they paid for the party every year. Voluntary donations. People would drop in $10 here, 20 there, sometimes more. They'd joke about it in the hallway, someone shouting, "I better see extra whipped cream with that budget." Then toss in a few bills, no questions asked. It had always worked. No budget issues. No complaints. Just good people doing good things. But this year, when Dale opened the box, his stomach dropped. It was empty. Not low. Not missing a few bucks. Empty. He blinked at it, confused. Shook it once. Nothing. He reached inside, half expecting a stack of bills to be stuck in a corner or tucked under the metal flap. Nope. Cold metal. Cold silence. He looked up. Out the window of his office, a soft snowfall was beginning to coat the courtyard in white. Inside, the hum of fluorescent lights. The low murmur of coworkers typing, chatting, working like any other day. But something was wrong. Very wrong. Dale wasn't paranoid by nature. He didn't jump to conclusions. But he knew he'd seen people donate. He'd seen Ben from accounting drop in a $20 with a wink and say, "This better buy extra cinnamon sticks this year." He'd seen Shonda leave a post-it note that read, "In memory of my self-control during cookie week," with a $50 underneath it. There was no doubt, the box had money. So where the hell had it gone? And more importantly, who took it? That's when it happened. As Dale was standing there, box in hand, confusion swirling in his gut like an incoming storm, Brad rounded the corner. Bradley Thompson, official job title, junior mechanical engineer. Unofficial title? The office parasite. Let's take a moment to paint the picture. Brad was in his mid-20s, always wearing slightly too tight dress shirts, never tucked in, and dress shoes that clicked way too loud for someone who never walked more than a few feet before sitting his entitled ass back down. He had that smug look on his face, like a kid who cheated on a test and still wanted you to be impressed with his grade. Brad was the nephew of the owner. That one sentence explained everything. He talked over people in meetings, claimed credit for other people's work, left empty coffee pots on the burner, once got caught watching YouTube during a safety inspection and somehow still got praised for keeping morale light. But worst of all, he was untouchable. Because no matter what he did, no matter how many complaints were filed, eye rolls were had, or near meltdowns caused, he was family. And family, in this company, came with immunity. Brad saw Dale standing there with the box. He paused, just for a second, and gave him a look. Not fear, not guilt, not surprise, disgust. Like Dale had interrupted something important. Like he was inconveniencing him by even existing in the hallway. Then, without a word, Brad scoffed and kept walking. But that look? That half smirk, half sneer? It twisted something in Dale's chest. A quiet click, like a gear sliding into place. And that, dear listener, was the beginning of what would soon be known as Operation Let It Go. Because Dale wasn't just angry. He was focused. He wasn't going to yell. He was going to build. And when engineers build revenge, they make it unforgettable. Dale was an engineer, which meant one thing. He didn't guess. He didn't make accusations. He solved problems. And right now, staring down at that empty tin box and remembering Brad's smug little smirk, Dale knew this wasn't just theft. It was an insult, a betrayal, a spit in the face of everything the office stood for. The planning phase. Step 1. Collect evidence. He wasn't about to march into the owner's office with nothing but suspicion and a bad feeling. Brad was the owner's nephew. Any accusation without hard proof would be suicide, social, professional, maybe even literal. He needed a way to catch the thief in the act, and he knew just how to do it. That night, Dale stayed late at the office. Past the janitors. Past the last carpool run. Just him, the soft glow of the computer screen, and a box from Amazon. Inside? A smart doorbell camera, motion-activated, disguised inside a cheap wall-mounted photo frame. He mounted it just above the hallway table where the donation box sat. Perfect angle. Perfect lighting. Silent. Hidden. Let's see what secrets you're hiding, Brad. Step 2. Set the trap. The next morning, Dale strolled into work with a coffee in hand and a smile on his face like nothing had happened. But beneath that calm surface, his brain was firing on all cylinders. He enlisted an ally, Michelle, the front desk admin who'd been at Carrington even longer than he had. He leaned in during her coffee break and whispered, "Hey, do me a favor. Say loud enough for the hallway to hear that you just dropped $100 in the party fund." She blinked. "Why?" Dale gave a wry smile. "Because we might catch a ghost." Michelle didn't ask further. She trusted him. Minutes later, just as planned, she passed by the box and called out, "Woo. Just donated a crisp $100 to the party fund. I expect extra marshmallows and the hot chocolate this year." Everyone in earshot chuckled, including Brad. That afternoon, Dale was grading quizzes in his office when his phone vibrated. Motion detected, hallway cam. He paused, breathed in, tapped the notification. The screen lit up with the live feed. And there he was, Brad. Brad's posture was classic guilty swagger. He looked around twice. Nobody in sight. He approached the box, tilted his head, opened it. Empty. His smirk vanished. His brow furrowed. Then he threw the box against the wall with a sharp clang, like a toddler denied dessert. He muttered something inaudible on the video, but the body language said it all. Entitlement. Frustration. Disgust. Brad wasn't stealing out of need. He was stealing out of habit. Out of arrogance. Dale leaned back in his chair, watching the footage again. And again. There it was. Proof. But instead of anger, he felt something else. Satisfaction. He finally had confirmation. But oddly enough, he didn't want to take it to the owner. Not yet. Because Brad getting fired would be too easy, too quick, too quiet. And it wouldn't fix the deeper problem. That night, during his 6:30 p.m. engineering class at the community college, Dale looked out over the classroom of tired, over-caffeinated but hungry to impress students and had a brilliant idea. Extra credit. Bonus points. And just a touch of chaos. "All right, folks," he said, tapping the whiteboard with a dry erase marker. "Let's put your brains to the test. I need a musical booby trap. Criteria. It needs to activate when a box is opened, play the most obnoxious sound possible, and stay on until a secret latch is pressed. The louder, the better. Bonus points for creativity. Submissions due in 7 days." The class went silent. Then a kid in the back yelled, "Wait, are you serious?" Dale smiled. "Dead serious. Welcome to the real world." The students went feral. They formed teams, pulled all-nighters, brought in sound chips from greeting cards, motion sensors from old security systems, and even parts from toy dolls. They tested dozens of songs. Baby Shark. Friday by Rebecca Black. Barbie Girl. But in the end, there was one clear winner. The unanimous choice. The most grating, overplayed, infuriating earworm of the decade. Let It Go from Frozen. 1 week later, Dale stood at the front of the classroom as the students unveiled their masterpiece. A reinforced donation box with an embedded sound module from a singing birthday card, a speaker for volume enhancement, a one-way trigger latch. Once opened, the song would play non-stop until the hidden side button was found and held for 3 full seconds. And the sound file? Idina Menzel, in full volume glory, "Let It Goo-Goo, Let It Goo-Doo." The classroom erupted in applause. Laughter. Groans. It was perfect. He didn't laugh with them. Not at first. He just stood there, watching the box, feeling pride. Not in the prank, but in the brilliance of it. His students had done more than build a gadget. They'd built a mirror. One that would reflect Brad's entitlement right back at him, loudly, annoyingly, and publicly. And that was worth every point of extra credit. The next morning, Dale brought the rigged box to work. He placed it carefully on the hallway table, positioned the frame camera again. Then, just like before, he orchestrated the setup. He passed by Shonda's desk and said, just loud enough, "Hey, whoever dropped that 50 in the box last night, thank you. That's going to go a long way. We're halfway to the chocolate fountain." And then he waited, in his office, phone in hand, coffee steaming beside him, anticipation buzzing in his chest like a live wire. "Let's see if you've learned anything, Brad." The phone buzzed. Motion detected, hallway cam. Dale tapped the screen, leaned forward, and there was Brad again. Same swagger, same smirk. But this time, he was about to meet Idina Menzel, and the result would be symphonic. The moment arrives. Brad strolled down the hallway like he always did, with that signature confidence, the kind that didn't come from skill, or talent, or earned success. It came from knowing no one could touch him. He wasn't worried about cameras, or coworkers, or karma, because Brad had always believed two things. Rules were for people who couldn't cheat well. His uncle would always protect him. But Brad had never met an engineer like Dale, and he had definitely never met an ambush disguised as a donation box. Brad approached the table, looked around. No one in sight. He reached down now, lifted the lid. And then, boom. Musical notes, let it go do. Can't hold it back, Anamori. Musical notes. It didn't just play. It erupted, at full volume. The hallway filled with Idina Menzel's voice like a choir of enraged Disney princesses on steroids. Brad flinched like he'd just been shot with a tuba. He jumped back, nearly tripped over his own loafers, and dropped the box, which landed on the floor with a clunk, still blaring. Musical notes, let it go. Let it go. Musical notes. People peeked out of doorways. Heads turned. Laughter erupted down the hall. What the hell is that? Is that Frozen? Wait, Brad? Did you open the box? Brad scrambled to close the lid, but it wouldn't shut. He slammed it once, twice. Nothing. The song kept going. He flipped it over, searching for an off switch. None. He punched the side of it. Still nothing. Musical notes, turn away, and slammed the door. Musical notes. Oh, the irony. Dale was in his office, watching it all live on his phone. He didn't smile. Not at first. He just sat back, eyes locked on the screen, heart beating a little faster. This wasn't joy. This was release. You didn't just take money, Brad. You stole joy. You stole tradition. And now you're gonna answer to Elsa. Then finally, Dale chuckled. The chaos grew louder. Brad had now kicked the box, denting the bottom corner, but it only caused the volume to spike. Musical notes, I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. Musical notes. Someone yelled, laughing. Is this a prank? Another replied, nope. That's Brad getting frozen. Phones came out. Videos recorded. Someone even started singing along. Then came the voice that silenced the hallway. Bradley. Everyone turned. At the far end of the hallway stood Mr. Thompson, the company owner. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't confused. He looked tired, disappointed. And Brad, he froze, the box still wailing in his hands. Musical notes, the cold never bothered me anyway. Musical notes. Mr. Thompson didn't raise his voice, didn't ask questions. He simply said, my office. Now, Brad stammered, tried to explain. It's just a stupid prank. Someone set this up, I didn't. Leave the box. Come now. And that was it. Like a balloon deflating, Brad placed the box down, shaking slightly. He followed his uncle into the office. Door closed. Silence. Except for musical notes, let it go, let it go. Musical notes. Still playing from the hallway. Dale stood up, walked down the hallway, past co-workers pretending not to stare, and gently picked up the box. He took it with him to the boss's office. Knocked once. Opened the door. Brad was sitting with his head down, face pale. Mr. Thompson looked up. Before either could speak, Dale placed a USB stick on the desk. Security footage. 2 separate days. You'll want to watch both. He nodded politely and left. 15 minutes later, the door opened. Brad walked out. But this time, No swagger, no smirk, no smug grin. Just a cardboard box in his arms and a pink slip in his hand. He didn't make eye contact, didn't say goodbye, didn't even defend himself. He just left. Later that afternoon, Michelle at the front desk received a company-wide HR memo. Effective immediately, Bradley Thompson is no longer employed by Carrington Design Group. His personnel file has been marked with 2 tags: do not rehire, do not recommend. We wish him luck in his future endeavors. Yeah, good luck with that. But Dale wasn't done. Oh no, because what's revenge without an encore? That night, he rigged the hallway box to play again. Same volume, same trigger. This time, he timed it for the exact moment the Christmas party started. The Carrington Design Group's Christmas party that year felt different. Not just because of the homemade desserts or the peppermint schnapps someone had definitely not cleared with HR. Not because of the awkward karaoke renditions of Last Christmas. It felt different because for the first time in years, people weren't walking on eggshells. There was a lightness. The shadow of nepotism had lifted. People had heard rumors. They knew Brad was gone. They knew the box had played Frozen at full blast. They knew Dale had something to do with it. But the full story? That hadn't been told yet. Not until Dale picked up the remote. It was about an hour into the party. Bellies full. Cups refilled. Spirits high. That's when Dale walked to the front of the office, a big white screen rolled down behind him. He tapped a few keys on his laptop. The projector flickered on. The chatter died down. And then, without a word, the video began. The footage showed Brad, plain as day, approaching the donation box the week before. Looking around. Opening it. Scowling at the emptiness. And throwing it against the wall in frustration. Gasps. Laughter. Someone whispered, he really thought he was slick. Another said, wait, is this from the security cam? Dale just nodded. Same hallway. Then the second clip started. Brad again. He opens it, and instantly. Musical notes, let it go, let it go. Musical notes. The whole office exploded with laughter. People were howling. A couple were crying from laughing so hard. Someone wheezed, dude, you can see his soul leave his body. And the final image? Brad kicking the box, red-faced, panicking like a trapped raccoon. Fade to black. When the laughter settled, Dale stood beside the screen and said just one thing. You can steal money. You can waste time. You can even ride family coattails for a while. But what you can't steal is trust. And once that's gone, so are you. The room fell quiet. Then, thunderous applause. From that day forward, the Frozen box became office legend. Every year, it was brought back out, displayed next to the Christmas cookies and decorated with tinsel. A sticky note was stuck to its side that read, warning, plays show tunes when disrespected. New hires were told the story within a week of onboarding. And every December, someone would whisper, so, who's brave enough to open the box this year? Dale retired a few years later. Quietly. No fuss. But his legend lived on. Not just because of the box. Not because he got the golden handshake or the nice send-off or the plaque. But because he reminded everyone what real leadership looks like. Not loud. Not petty. Not power-hungry. But principled. And a little bit wicked when the moment called for it. Revenge isn't always about rage. Sometimes it's about balance. About making the world just a little fairer, one bad song and one beautiful trap at a time. And if you're lucky, you get to watch an entitled brat get banished by a Disney princess. Now that's what I call a happy ending. If this story gave you chills, laughs, or just made you believe in karma again, smash that like button and subscribe for more emotionally charged, brilliantly engineered revenge stories. And tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying downfall you've ever witnessed? Until next time, stay sharp, stay kind, and for the love of sanity, please let it go.